There are moments in life that change everything. Moments that split your existence into before and after. Moments that redefine who you are and what you believe about the world and the people in it. Sometimes those moments are obvious, loud, impossible to miss. A near-death experience, a life-altering diagnosis, a sudden loss that brings you to your knees. But sometimes the most significant moments are quiet, almost invisible. The kind that pass by without fanfare or recognition until much later, when you look back and realize that everything could have gone so differently, if not for one person who showed up in one specific way at one crucial time. This is a story about Sarah, a woman who spent 3 years of her life walking through darkness so thick she could barely remember what light looked like anymore. Sarah had always been the strong one in her family, the reliable friend everyone called when they needed help, the coworker who stayed late to finish projects, the daughter who never complained about the weight she carried. On the outside, her life looked fine, maybe even good. She had a decent job, a small apartment, a routine that kept her moving forward day after day. But on the inside, Sarah was drowning in a depression so profound that getting out of bed felt like climbing a mountain, and the thought of facing another day exactly like the last one made her want to stop trying altogether. Nobody really knew how bad it had gotten. Sarah had become an expert at hiding her pain, at smiling when people asked how she was doing, at deflecting conversations away from anything real or vulnerable. She told people she was fine, just tired, just busy, just dealing with stress at work, and most people believed her because it was easier to believe the lie than to dig deeper and discover the truth. Her family lived in another state, and their phone calls were brief and surface level. Her old friends had drifted away over the years as lives got busy and priorities shifted. The people at work were friendly, but not close. The kind of relationships that existed within office walls, but never extended beyond them. Sarah felt invisible, like she could disappear completely and nobody would notice until someone needed something from her. The loneliness was crushing, made worse by the fact that she was surrounded by people every single day, but still felt utterly alone in her struggle. She stopped doing the things she used to enjoy because nothing brought her joy anymore. She stopped reaching out to people because the effort of pretending to be okay felt more exhausting than the isolation. She started having thoughts that scared her. Thoughts about what it would be like to just not exist anymore, to be free from the heaviness that had taken up permanent residence in her chest. This is where the story really begins, in the darkest corner of Sarah's life, when she had almost given up hope that things could ever be different. When she was standing on the edge of a decision that would change everything in the worst possible way. At work, there was a woman named Maya who sat 3 cubicles down from Sarah. Maya was newer to the company, maybe a year into her position, friendly in that casual workplace way, but not someone Sarah knew well or had ever spent time with outside the office. They exchanged good mornings when they arrived, made small talk in the break room about weekend plans or the terrible coffee, collaborated occasionally on projects that required both their departments. Normal coworker stuff, nothing that suggested any kind of meaningful connection or deeper friendship. But Maya noticed things that other people missed. She noticed that Sarah's good mornings had become quieter over time, that her smiles did not quite reach her eyes anymore, that she ate lunch alone at her desk every single day, scrolling through her phone with a blank expression. She noticed that Sarah volunteered for extra work constantly, like she was trying to fill every moment with busyness to avoid being alone with her thoughts. She noticed the dark circles under Sarah's eyes that suggested sleep was not coming easily. The way Sarah's clothes had started hanging a little looser, like she was forgetting to eat. The heaviness in her voice when she spoke, even about mundane things. Maya did not know what was wrong exactly, but she knew something was not right. And instead of ignoring it or assuming it was none of her business or waiting for Sarah to reach out first, Maya decided to do something about it. Nothing dramatic or invasive, just small gestures that said, "I see you, you matter, you are not as alone as you think you are." She started stopping by Sarah's desk more often, not with any agenda, but just to chat for a few minutes about nothing important. She invited Sarah to lunch, and when Sarah declined with her usual excuses, Maya tried again the next week and the week after that, persistent but not pushy, making it clear the invitation was always open. One day, Maya brought Sarah a coffee, the fancy kind from the shop down the street, just because she was getting one for herself and thought Sarah might like one too. It was such a small thing, so insignificant in the grand scheme of life, but Sarah felt something crack open inside her chest when Maya handed her that cup with a genuine smile and said she hoped Sarah's day was going well. It had been so long since anyone had thought of her without needing something from her, since anyone had extended kindness without expecting anything in return. Sarah thanked her quietly, and after Maya walked away, she sat at her desk, holding that coffee cup, and cried silently, careful to keep her face turned away from the aisle where people walked by. That coffee became a regular thing. Maya would show up once or twice a week with 2 cups, one for herself and one for Sarah, and they would stand in the break room for 15 minutes, talking about everything and nothing. Maya told funny stories about her chaotic family, asked Sarah's opinions on shows she was watching, complained about the new software system the company had implemented that nobody could figure out. She never pried into Sarah's personal life, never pushed for information Sarah was not ready to share, but she created a space where Sarah could exist without performing, without pretending, without the exhausting effort of maintaining the "I am fine" facade. Slowly, almost imperceptibly, Sarah started looking forward to those moments. She started arriving at work, feeling slightly less dread because she knew Maya would probably stop by at some point. She started accepting the lunch invitations occasionally, sitting in a nearby restaurant with Maya, talking about normal things, feeling almost human again for 30 minutes before returning to the office. She started responding to Maya's texts on weekends, just brief exchanges about nothing important, but it meant someone was thinking about her. Someone cared enough to reach out. Someone wanted to maintain connection, even outside work obligations. Maya did not know that her presence was literally keeping Sarah alive. She did not know that on the nights when Sarah's thoughts got really dark, when the weight of existence felt unbearable, and she seriously considered just ending it all, she would think about Maya bringing her coffee the next morning or texting her about some silly meme, and she would decide to wait one more day. She did not know that her casual invitations to lunch gave Sarah something to hold on to, a reason to keep showing up, evidence that maybe she was not as invisible and worthless as the depression told her she was. She did not know that her consistent, quiet, undemanding presence was the only thing standing between Sarah and a decision that could not be undone. Months passed this way. Sarah was still struggling, still battling the depression that colored everything gray, but she was surviving. She started seeing a therapist, finally admitting she needed help beyond what she could provide herself. She got on medication that took the edge off the worst symptoms. She slowly started reconnecting with a few old friends, testing whether those relationships could be revived. She was not healed, Not even close. But she was trying. And trying felt like a miracle, when just months earlier she had been ready to stop trying forever. Maya never asked for credit or recognition for any of this. She never sat Sarah down and said, "I am helping you through this," or made their friendship feel like charity work. She just kept being present, kept showing up, kept offering connection in small, consistent ways that did not demand anything heavy in return. To Maya, she was just being a decent human, doing what anyone should do when they notice someone struggling. She had no idea the true weight of what she was carrying for Sarah, the literal life-saving impact of her choice to pay attention and care and stay when doing nothing would have been so much easier. Then came the day when everything shifted, when the truth that had been hidden finally rose to the surface in a moment that neither of them expected, but both of them needed. It was a random Tuesday afternoon, nothing special about the day itself. Sarah and Maya were having lunch at their usual spot when Maya mentioned she had been thinking about volunteering with a crisis hotline, training to talk to people who were in really dark places and needed someone to listen. She talked about how she believed small acts of kindness could make huge differences in people's lives. How sometimes just knowing one person cares is enough to keep someone holding on. Something about the way Maya said it, the genuine conviction in her voice, the clear belief that human connection matters in profound ways. It broke something open in Sarah. Before she could stop herself, before she could talk herself out of it, or shove the truth back down where it had been living, Sarah started crying right there in the middle of the restaurant. Not quiet tears, but full-body sobs that she could not control. Years of pain and fear and loneliness, pouring out of her in waves she had held back for so long. Maya immediately reached across the table, grabbing Sarah's hand, her face full of concern and care. She did not tell Sarah to stop crying or to calm down or to worry about the other people in the restaurant who were starting to stare. She just held Sarah's hand and waited, present and steady, until Sarah could catch her breath enough to speak. And then Sarah told her everything. She told her about the depression that had nearly killed her, about the nights she had planned how she would end her life, about the crushing loneliness that made every day feel pointless. She told Maya that she was the reason Sarah was still alive, that those coffees and lunch invitations and random text messages had been literal lifelines when Sarah was drowning. She told her that on her worst night, when she had actually written goodbye notes and made a plan, she had received a text from Maya with some stupid joke about their boss, and it had made her laugh despite everything. And that small moment of lightness had been enough to make her wait one more day, and then one more after that. Maya sat there completely stunned, her hands still holding Sarah's, tears streaming down her own face now as she processed what she was hearing. She had no idea. She had thought she was just being friendly, just trying to help a coworker who seemed lonely or stressed. She had no idea that her small actions had carried such enormous weight, that her choice to pay attention and care had literally saved someone's life. The shock on her face was obvious, the way her mouth opened slightly, like she wanted to speak, but could not find words adequate for this moment. Finally, Maya squeezed Sarah's hand tighter and said in a voice thick with emotion, "I had no idea. I am so sorry you were going through that alone. I wish I had known sooner." And Sarah shook her head and said through her tears, "You did know. Maybe not the specifics, but you saw me when everyone else looked right past me. You cared when I thought I was unworthy of care. You stayed when I gave you every reason to walk away. You saved my life, Maya, and you did it by just being consistently kind to me without expecting anything in return." They sat there for a long time, both crying, both holding on to each other across that table, both understanding that something profound had just been spoken aloud that could never be taken back. The moment transformed their relationship from casual coworkers into something much deeper, into the kind of friendship forged in honesty and vulnerability, and the sacred space of being truly seen by another person. Maya was shocked, overwhelmed, trying to reconcile what she thought she had been doing with what she had actually been doing, trying to understand how something that felt so small to her had been everything to Sarah. And this is where the story finds its deepest truth, where the revelation changes not just how they see each other, but how they understand the impact of human kindness in a world that often feels cruel and indifferent. In the days and weeks that followed, Maya struggled with what Sarah had told her. She felt guilty that she had not realized how serious things were, angry at herself for not doing more, scared by how close Sarah had come to a tragedy that Maya would have never seen coming. But Sarah helped her understand that she had done exactly what needed to be done. She had not tried to fix Sarah or save her with grand gestures or force her into vulnerability before she was ready. She had simply been present, consistently and without judgment, creating a connection that gave Sarah something to hold on to when everything else felt like it was slipping away. Sarah explained that sometimes saving someone does not look like dramatic rescues or obvious interventions. Sometimes it looks like showing up with coffee, like sending a text for no reason, like inviting someone to lunch again and again even when they keep saying no. Sometimes it looks like paying attention when everyone else is too busy or too distracted or too uncomfortable to notice that someone is struggling. Sometimes the difference between life and death is as simple as one person deciding that another person matters enough to care about consistently. Maya began to see her own actions through a completely different lens. All those small moments she had thought were insignificant, they were actually profound acts of love and connection that had ripple effects she could never have predicted. That coffee she brought on a random Tuesday had come on a morning when Sarah had seriously considered not showing up to work at all, when the thought of facing another day felt impossible. That lunch invitation she extended for the 5th time after 4 rejections had finally been accepted on a day when Sarah desperately needed to feel like someone wanted her company. That silly text about their boss had arrived on the exact night when Sarah needed a reason, any reason, to laugh and remember that life contained moments of lightness even in the darkness. The shock Maya felt was not just about what Sarah had gone through, but about her own power to impact someone's life without even realizing it. She had always believed that making a difference required big actions, significant sacrifices, obvious heroism. But Sarah had shown her that sometimes the most profound impact comes from small, consistent acts of seeing people and choosing to care about them. Maya was shocked because she had underestimated the value of her own kindness, had dismissed as insignificant the very things that had been most significant to someone who desperately needed them. Sarah went on to heal, slowly and imperfectly, with setbacks and hard days and moments when the depression still tried to pull her back under. But she was never alone in that journey anymore. Maya became not just a friend, but a witness to Sarah's story. Someone who knew the full truth and loved her anyway. Someone who reminded her on hard days that she had already survived the worst and was strong enough to keep surviving whatever came next. Their friendship deepened into something rare and precious, built on honesty and vulnerability and the shared understanding that they had both been changed by what had happened between them. Maya also changed how she moved through the world after that conversation. She started paying more attention to the people around her, looking for the signs she had learned to recognize in Sarah, reaching out to others who seemed like they might be struggling in silence. She volunteered with that crisis hotline she had mentioned, using her experience with Sarah to connect with people in their darkest moments. She became someone who understood viscerally that every person carries invisible battles and that small acts of kindness are never actually small to the person receiving them. Years later, when Sarah was in a completely different place in her life, healthy and stable and genuinely happy most days, she would still tell people about Maya and what she had done. She would explain that Maya had saved her life not with one dramatic gesture, but with dozens of tiny ones, with the daily choice to see her and care about her and show up for her. She would say that Maya had taught her what real friendship looks like, what it means to love someone without needing them to be anything other than who they are, what grace and patience and consistent presence can do for someone who is barely holding on. And Maya, who still sometimes struggled to accept the weight of what she had done, would eventually come to understand that being shocked by your own impact is not a sign that you did not deserve credit, but a sign of your humility. She would learn that the best kind of help often comes from people who do not think of themselves as heroes, who just do what feels right without calculating the cost or expecting recognition. She would realize that she had been exactly who Sarah needed precisely because she had not been trying to save anyone. She had just been trying to be a good human to another human who seemed like they could use a friend. This is where the story completes its circle, not with a neat ending, but with an ongoing truth about the power of human connection and the ways we save each other without ever fully knowing the magnitude of what we have done. The person was shocked when they realized you were the one who saved them, because they had been telling themselves they survived on their own strength. They had gotten through it by sheer willpower. They had pulled themselves out of darkness without help. But the truth, the beautiful and humbling truth, is that we rarely survive alone. We survive because someone shows up, someone cares, someone decides that we matter enough to invest time and energy and presence into our lives, even when we are not easy to be around, even when we push them away, even when we give them nothing in return. You might be that person for someone right now and not even know it. Your text message might be arriving on the exact night someone needs a reason to stay. Your invitation might be the thing that pulls someone out of isolation that is slowly killing them. Your consistent presence might be the only thing standing between someone and a tragedy. You might never know the full impact of your kindness, never get the dramatic revelation that makes it all make sense, never receive the gratitude that your actions deserve. But that does not make it any less real, any less significant, any less life-saving. So keep showing up, keep reaching out, keep offering connection even when it feels like it does not matter or is not making a difference. Keep being the person who pays attention, who cares enough to ask how someone is really doing, who stays when everyone else walks away. Because somewhere, someone is surviving because of you. Someone is holding on because you gave them a reason. Someone is still here because you were there. And one day, they might tell you, one day, you might be shocked to discover that you were the one who saved them. And in that moment, you will understand what Sarah helped Maya understand, that the greatest acts of love often come dressed in the ordinary clothes of everyday kindness, and that makes them no less extraordinary.